If you are planning your first trip to Ivory Coast soon, I want you to drop a comment and keep watching till the end. In today's video, I'm going to give you a detailed breakdown of how much I spent in Ivory Coast. I visited Ivory Coast in 2024 between August and September. Now you can find a link to this video up here. In this video, I spoke about the most common things you need to know, unusual things people don't know about Ivory Coast. Kindly tap on that link and do watch this video. Okay, so first things first, I booked a flight to Ivory Coast and back to Ghana. Now this is my first time traveling by air to Abidjan or Ivory Coast. My first time traveling, I went by road, and I just wanted to try the flying experience to see how the airport looks like right from Accra. So I booked a flight with Emirates. My ticket cost a little about $400, I think $430 to be specific, and that was a round trip. So if you should convert that in Ghana cedis, that should be around 6. But then again, if you had to travel by air, flight prices from Accra to Abidjan should cost between this amount, either 4,000 cedis to as high as 6,000 cedis. So you should be paying something between this range if you're deciding to fly into Abidjan. For accommodation, my accommodation option was a shared space, so I shared a space with a friend. We booked an Airbnb and we shared that space. We spent a total of 11 days in Abidjan, and that amounted to a little below $500. We were staying in Kokodi Palmere district, and that was within the central part of Abidjan, and this place is close to most shopping malls, amenities around, local food spots. It was an ideal place to stay. But if you are planning a trip to Abidjan, I advise you to go with whatever budget that you have, and there's a budget for everybody. Even though Abidjan can be expensive, I mean, whatever budget that you have, you can find something for yourself. I had on me $600, and I did so well to be within that amount, so I didn't really go way above. I didn't spend all that money on me. I returned with $300 left, and that was great. Now, how did I navigate feeding? We bought groceries from the supermarket, fruit sheds around. I hardly spent money going to restaurants. We bought groceries from the market, and then we prepared our own meals, breakfast, sometimes supper, sometimes lunch. So the only times that we had to buy probably food or snacks was when we were en route to, experience other parts of the city. All in all, when it comes to feeding, I spent a little above $100. This included grocery shopping and snacks. Let's talk about experiences. Majority of the experiences I did in Abidjan were sponsored. I had sponsored trip from Get Your Guide, sponsored trip from Vato. I'm going to drop links to these experiences in the description below, and you can go to this and then book an experience. So the first bit that I did an Abidjan city tour. Now, I mentioned in my previous video that if you have like a short time to spare in Abidjan, I advise you to do like an Abidjan city tour, and that should last for about 6 or 5 hours, and that takes you through the main streets of Abidjan, the monuments, museums, marketplaces, and very exciting spots. Grand Bassam tour, that was a historical tour, and I booked this experience with Vato. Now this experience costs $100. For the other experiences that I had to pay for, now then again, these experiences were shared. We decided to visit Yamoussoukro. We decided to do mud bathing at Domaine Bini. Now for mud bathing at Domaine Bini, for that you have to find our way to Domaine Bini. That's roughly about an hour from Abidjan, and we got there, made payment, and we had a great experience. The experience lasted for a little above 2 hours, and it was exciting. And if you should visit, I advise you can book through local tour providers. Yeah, so Domaine Bini was between 15,000 to 20,000 CFA. I think I paid around 18,000 CFA. That was inclusive of transportation and the experiences, and we had a great time. Now, my last experience was my visit to Yamoussoukro. Now, Yamoussoukro is the administrative capital of Ivory Coast, and this is where we have Africa's biggest cathedral or church. For Yamoussoukro, we bought bus tickets at the main bus terminal. That cost 4,500 CFA for one way. So if you are doing a return trip, that should cost roughly 9,000 CFA. And that was a 4-hour trip from Abidjan to Yamoussoukro. Now, when we went to Yamoussoukro, we picked a taxi that took us to the Grand Basilica, and at the Grand Basilica we paid 1,000 CFA each because we're foreigners, and that was the amount that was required. So I think in total a cool 10,000 CFA for transportation and experience for Yamoussoukro should do. How do you go around in Abidjan? For the most part of my stay, I use hill riding apps like Yango, Uber and Bolt. Now I think Yango was the most affordable during that time. Averagely I was paying between 50 cedis for a ride. Now if you're the kind of person who likes going out a lot, I'll advise you out for hill riding apps like Yango, Bolt or Uber, depending on the price at that point. Now I know there are taxis in every district, and so you could also try the taxis. I think the taxis should be cheaper, or if you really want to immerse yourself in the locals, you could go for their bus systems. Now I believe this bus rides will be way cheaper. So all in all, adding all these things up, including my sponsored experiences, everything should amount to a little below $1,000 for one person. Now for a week stay in Abidjan, I advise you to budget $1,000 and have about $250 or $300 or say $400 as backup money on you. $1,400 should be a good amount to have on you for a week stay in Abidjan. I believe I've covered most of the most important things you need to know in planning your trip to Abidjan, getting there, getting around, feeding, accommodation, etc. So now this is how much I spent on my 11-day trip in Ivory Coast. So if you're planning your first trip or probably your second trip to Abidjan, kindly take note of these things that I spoke about in the video. Now if you need any other assistance with regards to planning your trip to Abidjan, kindly drop a question in the comment section and I'll respond to those ASAP. Maybe you visited Ivory Coast before and you want to share some tricks and tips, kindly drop them in the comment section below and the community will be excited to have those. As always, thank you so much for watching my videos. Thank you for sharing, thank you for engaging. It goes a long way to support my work, and I want to say I appreciate you all for going out of your way to support my work. Cheers, and I can't wait to see you in my next video.